Forbes India presents M Connect Season 2, powered by Marmo Solutions.
Hello and welcome to Season 2 of Forbes India presents M Connect, ideas that build tomorrow, powered by Marmo Solutions. And I'm your host, Radhika Sinha. Now, when we think about architecture, we often focus on the bigger picture, the form, the scale, the overall experience. But what if some of the most powerful ideas in design are actually hidden in the smallest details? A carefully crafted edge, a thoughtfully designed junction, a subtle element that may seem small in scale yet has the ability to shape how an entire space is experienced. And that's exactly is the theme of today's conversation, the detail as idea. Because great details are not just decorative additions, they often reflect the thinking behind a project, the values of a designer, and the intention that brings a space to life. Today, we explore how details move beyond craftsmanship to become powerful expressions of design philosophy, creativity, and identity. Joining us are three architects who have each built a distinct design language through an extraordinary attention to detail. We have with us Monika Chawla, co-founder and creative head, Essentia Home. Next, we have Monika Choudhary, co-founder and growth strategist, Habitat Architects. And Sonali Bhagwati, co-founder and managing partner, Designplus Architecture. Thank you so much, ladies, for joining us today.
You're very welcome. And having two Monikas today up on stage, I think that's a handful. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's going to be a fun conversation today. Monika Chawla, starting with you. Let's begin with the idea of understanding the emotional memory in design. You know, sometimes it's the smallest details that we remember the most. So has a tiny design detail ever stayed with you longer than the actual space itself?
Absolutely. Details are not something that you're putting down on paper one by one. These are small elements that make the whole. In fact, everything is a collection of details. What details really do is they invoke emotions. And emotions, bring about or retain memories in you. And that's why I feel, when we're looking at buildings or when we're looking at projects, we really forget about them the moment maybe we're driving back into our car. But what stays with you is that emotion which has created a memory. And I think since childhood, I would definitely say a lot of things shaped my practice, the way I think. Absolutely, details are the essence. I was a little girl actually when my parents used to drop us for summer breaks with my Dada Dadi ji. And I remember he was a doctor, he was a homeopath. And his stack of shelves with symmetrical bottles, in different sizes, and how his hand would reach out to every bottle, knowing which one to pick for which patient, was a very magical memory, that I still really remember. And I think that made me who I am. I like something which is clutter-free. I'm somebody who likes things organized. So I think those small little things really shape you. I really love that.
Very interesting to know that a small detail can sometimes become the overall memory of a space, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Monika Choudhary, coming to you, when you start designing for a project, do you already know where your hero detail will sit, or that emerges much later in the process?
For sure, from our perspective, it comes later. We normally start with the vision really, and details come out of that vision. So for vision for us would be, it kind of encompasses the architecture, the context, the space where the experience is going to sit, and of course the client aspirations that we have. From there, the details emerge for us. Though I kind of quite correlate with her that there are little details which stay with you from the longest, but a project for us does not start from the detail. I do feel that details are are a part which builds the larger story for design. It does not separate it from here. So for us, both, I cannot put details ahead of vision, and I cannot see the vision which does not end with the detail. So if you really go back to our websites at Habitat, you will see, surprisingly, when I got this whole detail from you, it actually says where vision meets detail. So for us, a full design, when we are looking at something, is a collection of both aspects.
Have you ever discovered, the most important detail, maybe by accident? Has it ever happened to you?
For last 30 years, yes, I can come up with multiple examples there. So details are magical. That makes the design complete, for that matter. The way the metal sits on the stone, perhaps for a custom-made partition, maybe a detail of a beautifully handcrafted product. So there are a lot of these really nice memories, or for that matter, a beautiful curving staircase as a detail. I mean, I can go on and take your entire time and tell you how many of those. But yes, detail is important. But for us, that is not detrimental of the project. That's not the beginning point for the project.
Great. Very interesting thought. Sonali, coming to you, when you're creating a detail, how much of it comes from the technical logic and how much comes from your pure instinct?
You know, I went to an architecture school, which was absolutely awe-inspiring. And I had the good fortune to study and be mentored by stalwarts like B.V. Doshi and Raje, both of whom have been proteges of world masters, 20th century masters. So I think vision and details became part and parcel of our education from day one. We were known for that. And it became part of our DNA, in fact, as we went along. And when you stepped into the profession, it was just a natural kind of a progression that you design a building, but it is never complete without proper detailing. And the emphasis that was always put on good detailing became a part of what we learned from our first year at SET, So this was, for us, detailing was never a question or a topic. It was just part and parcel of what you needed to do. The devil was always in the detail. And detail is, I would say, not instinctive completely. It is, in fact, a result of your good technical knowledge, your experience, your, we look at it such that even when we travel, we are always spending more time looking at what is happening in the world in terms of projects, in terms of developments, in terms of any interesting interiors. So every time I travel, I'll spend more time doing that than what you call pleasurable other things, because for me, that is pleasure. And I think all these things cumulatively go into your subconscious and you keep drawing on it every time you are working on a design. So it's just a natural progression that when you look at any space, whether it is a building or an interior, you are looking at from a macro to a micro. And unless you have addressed the micro in a proper technical manner, you will never have the macro complete. So I think that's how it works for us.
But do you ever face any clashes between the two?
No, it is not a clash ever, because you start with a macro, because when you're looking at a larger development, whether it's a master plan or whether it's a commercial building or it may be an interior, you are starting at a macro level and you are developing a vision for it. You're developing your narrative for it. So narrative is the crux of any project that you do. Unless you have a clear narrative, you are lost. You are then sort of faffing between, nowhere. Once the narrative is there, you develop the narrative and you complete the narrative with the right details. And that's when you've done the project right.
And Monika Chawla, how do you know when a design detail is an absolute essential in a particular space and when it's absolutely unnecessary or just becoming too much of a clutter?
Oh, yeah. I think my one method is I like to put everything I want out there in the vision, in the render, in the drawing, and my process becomes subtraction. I don't like to add later on. For me, adding later on is like an afterthought. It's like a patch up, you know, it's like a camouflage, maybe, something you're trying to hide. Subtraction works wonders for me. So then I say, all right, fine, do I remove this? Does this space looks better off with the removal of certain aspects? If the answer is immediately yes, I am all out for removing it. If I say, fine, removing it really loses the magic, I put that back in. So that method really works for me. I don't like excess at all. I like things that are there. You know, a hero for me is more important than the rest of the cast. Have one good element, let it talk to the user, let it talk to the context, and subtract everything else. For me, maximalism literally is clutter. It's like a distraction.
But how do you deal with a client if suppose that particular detail the client wanted and you as a designer feel it's absolutely unnecessary?
All our clients self-select themselves. You know, clients, when they come to us, they're not just coming to us for our design aesthetic. They're coming us for our sound judgment. They rely on our sense of judgment. They're smart enough to leave all macro and micro decisions to us. They're working with a professional team. And most clients, 99.9% of them, the smartest of all, they like to listen to the design team because they know they're in safe hands.
Monika Choudhary, do you also share the same thought that clients do have that certain amount of trust on you and they believe that whatever you're saying is correct? Do you also think that details can reveal the personality of a designer?
Do you know what I think detail actually shows? And if you are looking at the details of a particular designer, it kind of shows that what the designer refused to overlook before it shows what the designer is putting through. It is extremely important. I mean, I feel if you're asking something to do with, does it reveal me? Does it reveal my personality? No, but I think detail in the design reveals my discipline towards the design sensibility before it reveals my personality. And that becomes derivative for what you look at in a designer. The small details that I'm putting across, are they matching to the overreaching idea or the vision of design the client has come to you for? It is more a discipline that I have towards that particular design concept, which is more there. Not so much what I am, but what I am willing to put across in discipline for this particular design concept and the vision that I have, which matches with my client. Sometimes it might not match with the client, but it then depends on how honest a designer are you. Are you willing to finish the project for the sake of finishing the project? Or are you wanting to put your best foot forward for the experience the client's going to have? The house I'm not going to live in. The space I design, a commercial space, I'm not going to inhabit it all the time. So I have to think very, complete encompassing thought process around it.
Sonali, I want to get your thoughts on this.
We do a huge variety of work, both in architecture and interior. So I think our attitude towards each project typology has to change because each project typology is different. The demands are different. The functionality is different. The end user has different aspirations. So I think in our case, there is no one single answer. One of the universities that we've done in Patiala, which has really been like a, mega project, it has a completely different approach to, let's say, a residential villa that we may have done, So you cannot really compare, but some places the detailing needs to be as per what that project is. The university in Patiala has a mega scale. So the detailing over here was to juxtapose the natural materials of concrete and stone with color. So that's how we played with it, because the whole space was absolutely awe-inspiring. And then the color came in as a pop of detail. The way the concrete is detailed, the way the glass sits in it, way the stone detailing is done, the way the jali sits in it, that is the level of detail required over there. But when you come to a villa, the details are much finer. How a timber cladding sits with the metal, sits with the stone, the kind of sills you're forming as you go inside, the entire color palette that you're developing. What is the client all about? Let us understand their hopes and aspirations as well. Eventually, you have to hold their hand and navigate them through the right path. But it should not be without understanding them. Because at the end of the day, if they have to use the place, it needs to be in a manner which is for them to enjoy. You may educate them, you may navigate them, but you have to keep in mind their aspirations. So that's the way we look at it. So in a home, I don't think it needs to reflect me. I think it needs to bring out the best of the user.
But Sonali, how do you differentiate between a truly timeless design, detail, and a passing trend maybe?
When I was in school, when I joined architecture school, one of the first things that our professor told us is that when you even draw a line, there has to be a meaning behind it. You need to be able to tell yourself what it is for, what is it that you are setting out to do, which I would call a narrative. The moment your narrative for any project, whatever it may be, is strong, that design becomes timeless.
Should I say something?
Yes.
Anyone can actually sketch a compelling space. How does it make it different from the person who's doing it with the narrative or the vision as we are talking about? There is a concept which can be taken through in terms of a thought, but then you have to have some kind of rigorous understanding of how things move, how your design language also moves from A to Z. You can't go, trends are they jump from A to M, then M to X and back to B. And then you really don't, then it's like a khichdi there.
Yeah, it's like a flop.
It's actually, you walk into a space and you see, oh my God, what has happened here?
But then name one trend that's giving you headache, both of you.
Lately, I'm not pinpointing one trend, but lately one thing that I'm definitely seeing across the globe, and more so in our part of the country, is that we are just trying to create spaces which we have seen somewhere, which are popular, and without the sense of context, without going through the sense of context, one is trying to put together. So if there was a time, there was a trend where you would have all buildings which had that glass cladding. Now, if it is in context and required to be there, I will not call it a trend. But it became trend because in all kind of places, all parts of the world, we suddenly saw these structures which actually made no sense of putting all that glass cladding there. They became those really hot areas to move in, did not add aesthetics to the space, did not add functionality to the space.
Was not sustainable.
They are definitely not sustainable. And that conversation can
Is
go
another
on to another level.
deeper conversation.
I will not talk about, because different areas have different things happening.
Sure.
But I'm talking of Shah Jahanabad, Old Delhi, which is where I have done a
There
lot
you
of
go.
work. When I go there, it just makes me cry when I see a building in front of Jama Masjid, which is badly clad in Aluco bond. Oh, it's something that just sort of wrenches
Doing
my
things
heart.
completely out of context. Why?
So those are the kind of things that we have to completely get rid of. I think that sensibility that you are in a heritage, you own a piece of heritage.
Yeah,
What are you
respect
doing?
that.
And why should you be even allowed to do that?
A lot of people have started designing for the sake of performance, for the sake of a portfolio. I call it a portfolio syndrome, and you're putting too many things together. Maybe you're just doing it for a photo op, but would you do it with your own money for your own self? If the answer is yes, I say go ahead and do it for the clients as well. But if for a moment you are doubtful and you say, I am not putting my hard-earned money into something like this, the answer is right there in front of everybody,
And have you ever had to fight to protect a particular design detail that maybe everyone else thought was absolutely unnecessary?
Yes.
Every
And I think
designer
all
with
the
their
time,
worth
all
sought
the
to
time.
have done that
Yeah,
at one point in life.
Details are never going to advocate for themselves.
Now it's time to lighten things up. And on that note, it's time for our quick take round. Short questions, quick answers, and absolutely no overthinking. So Monika, let's start with you. All geared up? My first question. Should a great detail make a statement or blend seamlessly into a space?
You know the answer.
Yes.
Blend it.
Blend.
Blends in. Absolutely. Invisible.
Would you rather perfect one corner or improve the whole room slightly?
Definitely one corner, because that sets the pace, and then you know what else is possible with the rest of the space. So I, just let the ball roll and everything else.
Okay. And what matters more, a beautiful surface finish or flawless structural alignment?
You know my answer. I think everybody has the same answer, the alignment.
Alignment. Okay. What breaks your heart more, a bad paint edge or a misaligned tile joint?
See, a paint edge can be taken care of in one afternoon. The tile, I don't want to live with. Every time there's a, somebody using the shower, we don't want them thinking about how bad the contracting job was.
Yeah. And I think the only architects would notice that right
Oh,
away,
absolutely.
Right? Okay, Monika Choudhary, now your turn. What's trickier to perfect, a staircase edge or a window frame?
Any day a window frame.
Would you rather get rid of one detail that doesn't belong or add one that makes the design better?
Definitely remove it. Restraint is usually my design language.
Something that's slightly crooked or something that's slightly unfinished? Which one do you prefer?
I would rather something is left unfinished than being crooked, because that crooked thing is going to bother me forever, because it shows that it was done without the intent of it.
Okay, and the last one. At work, do you trust drawings more or mock-ups?
The mock-up is life and drawing is intelligence. So I will not like to pick one. It is a continuation.
Perfect. Sonali, your turn. Do you enjoy working out a detail with a pencil and paper, or do you prefer designing it digitally?
I sketch just as much, except it's on the pad now.
Okay, if you had to elevate a space instantly, would you focus on the ceiling or the flooring?
It's neither the ceiling nor the floor. It's the holistic view of a space that will enhance it.
Absolutely. And what's more rewarding? A detail that's hidden and discovered later, or one that's visible right away?
It is something which will be so integral to the space that you will neither look at it nor discover it. It just helps in the functioning.
Yeah, okay, last one. What's the first thing you notice in a space, the detailing or the materials? Quickly, one word.
The detailing.
The detailing.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much, ladies, for sharing your perspective, your experiences, and sharing such great insights. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Our pleasure. Thank you.
Well, that's all the time we have on this episode. Today's conversation reminded us that great design isn't always about grand gestures or dramatic statements. Often, it's the smallest decisions, the details that people may not consciously notice but naturally respond to, that shape the way a space is experienced and remembered. From craftsmanship to intuition to simplicity and timelessness, these subtle choices often carry the true signature of a designer. So thank you to our viewers for joining us. We'll see you again soon with another episode of M Connect Season 2.
Forbes India presents M Connect Season 2, powered by Marmo Solutions.